Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody, and thank you so much for being here. Work-based learning is a big part of CTE, and it's so valuable for our students. This is just work-based learning 101, and we could really go more in depth with work-based learning, and we are planning to having additional professional developments on work-based learning, but this is just an overview to get you started about thinking about how you're going to implement this and the importance of it. So hopefully, if you haven't done so already, if you could just please make sure, like I said, to type your name and the organization you represent in the chat, and we'll get started. Okay, so myself, I'm not going to be the only one talking about work-based learning this morning. It's also going to be a couple of my colleagues, myself, a little bit about me. I was a work-based learning instructor. I taught marketing, sales, and service, and I would place students out in the community to get hands-on experience. I now represent the Rio Hondo Community College, and I'm available to assist in any way with pathways, dual enrollment, articulation, work-based learning. So if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. I'm happy to help, whether you're within my district or not. And then we also have Tanaya Clayton. Tanaya, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, good morning, everyone. I am Tanaya Clayton. I am the Career Pathway Specialist or Career Pathway Coordinator for the Citrus College District, and I'm being hosted at San Gabriel Valley ROP. And I've also worked at Charter Oak High School, and I was a college and career specialist there. So I did help with like work-based learning there as well.
Great, thank you. Sabrina?
Yes, my name is Sabrina Ruiz Emmons. I'm the K-12 Pathway Coordinator for Glendale Community College, and I'm hosted at Burbank Unified. And I as well was a CTE business and marketing teacher, as well as a work-based learning teacher. So I am also available for any questions, any assistance that you might need.
Thank you so much, ladies. Appreciate that. Okay, so just to give you an overview of what we're going to cover this morning, of course, we're going to cover work-based learning, some pathway activities when you're talking about the introduction, the introductory course, the concentrator and the capstone. We're going to talk about some activities throughout that pathway, work-based learning and as a continuum, quality standards for work-based learning, preparing for work-based learning students and teachers, accountability forms, obtaining work sites, retention, because you want to make sure to retain those work sites once you get them, and resources. So work-based learning. Work-based learning is an educational strategy which utilizes on-the-job training experiences at business, industry, and public agency sites to assist students in developing competencies necessary for entry-level employment. Students get the opportunity to connect classroom learning to authentic business industry experience. Work-based learning is described as a continuum of experiences that help prepare students for post-secondary education and careers. So work-based learning in federal legislation. So in federal legislation, work-based learning is used in Perkins, also in ESSA, which is Every Student Succeeds Act, and also WIO, Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. So in Perkins, it references it to state plans, programs of study, and collaboration among secondary schools, post-secondary institutions, and employers. And this also includes participation in work-based learning as one of 3 indicators of program quality that states may select to report. So work-based learning is very important. They want you, when you're getting Perkins funding, they look at work-based learning as one of those 3 indicators that you are using the money correctly and what they are giving you the money for. And then also ESSA references work-based learning in 3 separate sections. And these 3 separate sections say to provide students with exposure to industry professionals and the option to earn academic credit. In addition, to provide professional development for instructors and administrators on work-based learning instruction. And lastly, work-based learning as a possible indicator of career readiness at a secondary school level for the public of state applications for federal funds. And then we go to, excuse me one second, sorry, WIA. And WIA mentions work-based learning in reference to Job Corps and vocational rehabilitation programs. And it is a required activity of Job Corps and Job Corps centers with work-based learning, providing locations that comply with occupational safety and health guidelines. In addition to that, legislation on the use of federal vocation rehabilitation funds for training and services for employers to include working with employers to design work-based learning activities for individuals with disabilities, and pre-employment services for individuals with disabilities to include work-based learning as a required activity. So the goal for work-based learning is to prepare students for college and career, expose students to career pathways, increase student critical thinking skills, teach self-sufficiency and how to make informed decisions, enhance goal attainment, develop leadership skills, improve self-confidence and employability skills, build community and connections, and reinforce academic skills. So work-based learning activities, the Los Angeles and Orange County Regional Consortium has defined a sequenced continuum of work-based learning activities and experiences for all students that address the need for an array of career awareness, career exploration, career training activities to help better prepare workforce for the future. So in career awareness, you could look at this continuum across the board. It should start in middle school and then go throughout high school. So starting with career awareness, that's really when you're getting students familiar with careers, you know, education and training that is required for career fields. And then also having them discover what are the careers that they're interested in, right? And they're able to articulate that more. This is what I'm interested in. They could start that career exploration. Then when you get into career exploration, the student should be able to give at least 2 examples of how their interests relate to the career field or an occupation. And then when you get into career preparation, that is when students should be able to effectively collaborate working relationships with colleagues and customers. So getting that experience networking and in that exposure to somewhat of the workforce. And then also getting them to learn how to work as a team, contributing appropriately to a team effort. And then lastly, we have the career training component, and that is when a student is able to demonstrate knowledge and skills specific to employment in a range of occupations in a career field. And we're going to get more into this, like I said, with a pathway. I'm going to have Sabrina go over that next section with you.
Yes, so introduction. So in the pathway, there is an introductory course. So what that would look like in a work-based learning class would be an experience possibly that would include a workplace tour or field trips. And this is important to build awareness because students need that guidance. They need to know what's available to them. They need to know what careers specific options are out there for them, what it's going to take for them to get to that level. So that's why it's important to bring those experiences in, such as a guest speaker, career mentoring, career days, career interest assessments, and also college fairs are very beneficial to students. Concentrator. So that would be the second course in your pathway, and that would prepare the students for work. So applying the knowledge, the learning from the practical experience that develops the knowledge and skills necessary for them to be successful in their careers as well as their post-secondary education. So what that experience looks like would be a student-led enterprise, something along the lines of virtual enterprise, so where you would have the students facilitate business roles within the classroom during the class time, as well as industry-led projects, possibly bringing in a guest speaker for that, informational interviews, job shadowing, so that way they know what the career that they're interested in, what's necessary to obtain that position, and what their job duties would look like. Career mentoring, and that could be done in person or also virtually, as well as career CTSOs, so such as FBLA, DECA, HOSA, Skills USA. Those are all beneficial experiences and real world experiences for students. Capstone, so that's usually the third course, the final course in the pathway. And that trains students for employability skills, which is what the industry is looking for, the soft skills, the real world experience. And that looks like a community classroom work experience. So the cooperative vocational training. So that would be on the job training for your students, the internships, whether they're paid or unpaid, the volunteer service, the mock interviews, the resume workshops, and the service learning. I know as a work-based learning instructor, I made sure that all of my students had a portfolio. They had the resume workshop within the classroom. We would also have the guest speakers come in and possibly give them tips and tools on what they could be putting in their resume so that way they can be more employable. And how the pandemic has affected work-based learning. So due to the pandemic, we've gone through a lot of changes in the past months, and this is especially true for work-based learning. So most programs place students in healthcare institutions for job shadowing or on-the-job training. So that has come to a halt due to the COVID-19, whether or not the students would need to be vaccinated. There's a lot of different protocols for the pandemic. And as well as a result, students have earned practicum hours for credentials or certifications. And then in some cases, students can earn practicum hours through a simulation or virtual experience, which is great. So that way their education can continue. And so Perkins does include simulated environments. And as a result, CTE programs can seek many tools they can utilize for those simulations, such as NEPRIS is one of the tools that's great for that. Community classroom. So interaction with mentors. I think mentors are a great experience for students. It gives them a lot of different insights on the real world, on job experience, just advice in general. If they have any specific questions on the field that they're interested in. And it helps them develop their occupational specific skills. So working on specific industry projects with a mentor, having them possibly come in and critique, give the students feedback, having that open-ended conversation, getting the students comfortable, asking questions, completion of certificates. It's very vital for students. A lot of the industries are looking for that. That makes the students more employable. And then just make a note that some ROPs, if they're placing students outside of their district boundary, that you need to check to make sure that it's not being utilized by another ROP. So if so, then you need to obtain permission to placing students. And we'll get into that more in depth within our next few workshops that we're going to have on work-based learning. And then students that demonstrate specific skills that are employable for their pathway. So whatever their career pathway is, they would be working in that industry through work-based learning. They would have hopefully be placed in a job within that field. So that way they get a better understanding and experience within that to see if that's really the field that they seek to go into. And then service learning, just going over an overview of what service learning is. So this is when the students participate and learn and develop through active participation within the organization. So it's conducted with meetings within the community. So I think this is great. This is based upon a SMART goal or objective that is a need based upon the community needs. So the students are actually out there. And this includes a lot of different project management skills and helps students get out there and to build up their soft skills as well. And so that's integrated and enhanced through the academic curriculum of their work-based learning as well. Internships. I think internships are awesome. So internships that are usually utilized are possibly through, I know from my district that I was with, Walnut, they had the water district that had students go out and get their experience through that. In the internship, it can also include the operation of the facilities. So these are the 6 criteria that are very important to look at. So when you get a copy of this presentation, you can look at these as well. So the internship experience benefits the intern as well as the employer. So they can possibly build that rapport with that employer so that way they can possibly obtain a recommendation or maybe even a job after they're done with that internship. And the internship doesn't necessarily guarantee that job, but it does look great for them in the experience, the real world experience and the employability and soft skills that they're looking for. The employer and the intern, they do understand that they're not entitled to wages if it's a nonprofit and the time spent there. So they might get their community service hours and their hours for their work-based learning course. Work-based learning on campus. So in the past, we had this circle time for our time of the day where they have the staff would come in and we would get in a circle and just share information as well as invite staff. And they had a student store where students could get the interaction, the soft skills, and work with others. They had a pop-up shop where students would actually sell their products, and web design where the students would design and market their products through the work-based learning, as well as publications. Marketing, hosting your open house. We would have that based upon students' activities, and students would make all of the designs, the flyers, all the information would be based upon the students. Reverse work-based learning, again, virtual student enterprise and photography and back to school night. These are all ways to get your work-based learning on campus and get the word out. And now Tanaya will be speaking about the quality standards.
So for work-based quality learning standards, it's designed to promote enhanced learning skill development and workplace awareness. It provides unique opportunities to practice and demonstrate new skills and assist in the development of workplace awareness. It also provides, it needs to be structured to be effective, safe, legal, and measurable. And it's supported by appropriate planning, tailored training, and efficient. Connected to classroom learning, career development, and sequence education, training, and workplace activities. Experiences are designed to directly support academic and occupational learning, build core employability skills, and provide a planned sequence of experiences that links academic concepts to real-world application. And so we wanted to talk about how can you develop work-based learning opportunities. So if you kind of keep in mind that you want to make sure you ask your coworkers, when I was putting together like the career days, the teachers were a great help. They were able to, they had connections. There were some people that, their brother was an attorney. They knew photographers and things like that. So you want to leverage those around you to make sure that you are reaching out to everyone. You can also do, reach out to your students and parents. Chamber of Commerce, you can do cold calling, and then also go into businesses face to face. Former students, they may be working in the industry when they were a former student of your classroom that may have connections within their company. And then, and as I mentioned, in person. And then also you want to increase access to work-based learning opportunities. You can use labor market information. If you get any of the labor market reports from the career, the Center of Excellence, they show you like the companies that are more, that they're hiring at that time. And so that's a good way too to identify which companies are looking for workers and using that information. You can work with your mayor or Chamber of Commerce to build employer networks and determine skills, needs, and gaps. You can collaborate with community colleges and apprenticeship programs, and you can provide students and teachers with a variety of industry based on experiences. And then also another thing that you can do is like job boards. I use Indeed.com. And so a lot of times, like if you look on there, you'll see which companies are hiring. And it might not hurt, to reach out to those companies because you already know that they're in need of workers. So reaching out to them and seeing if they would be interested in providing opportunities as well for students. When you're reaching out to the employers, you want to highlight the benefits of them hosting an intern and providing work-based learning experiences. So that could be, it allows them to observe potential employees while they are being trained in their facility, provides a source of trained employees at no cost to them. And that's for, like if it's an unpaid internship, receive recognition locally and throughout the state for being a partner in education, and they receive free advertising on school social media and website platforms, and it helps the employers build their future workforce. And that's the ultimate, like as we know right now, there are a lot of industries that are experiencing a labor shortage. So I think that's a great way to pitch an idea of, they're actually able to mold their workforce. And then they're also making a difference in their local community. A lot of organizations want to be involved, but they don't really necessarily know how. And so I think this would be a great opportunity for them to be involved. So how do you prepare for work-based learning? This is for teachers. You want to help refer students to specific internship opportunities based on their skills and interests and the employer's needs. Help students prepare for the interview, including their elevator pitch and how to dress. Have students research the employer and identify career options or pathways that are of interest prior to the work-based learning activity. Explore what concepts discussed in the classroom might be demonstrated in the workplace. Document learning objectives, design and coordinate concurrent learning activities in the classroom, provide opportunities for students to reflect on their work-based learning experiences in the classroom, both verbally and in writing. And so that could be like if you create projects, and then I'll show you later a document that we put together where it will actually help you kind of provide those experiences like in a more structured format. And then assess the effectiveness of work-based learning activities and make adjustments. Check in and see if students need assistance with updating their career plan, and distribute and collect all required forms. How to prepare students for work-based learning. So you want to set the expectations for their training sites. Make sure that they've developed their soft skills, not just the hard skills that they need. Paperwork, make sure that you have like your parent and student agreement, emergency forms. Think about if it's not virtual, like how will they get to the training site? Is it going to be a hindrance for them making it to it every day? Or is it, are they able to get to the site? Off-campus passes, makeup time. Consider how you are representing your school, pathway, profession. So you want to make sure that you reiterate that it's not just them going into a job and they're representing themselves, but it's actually going to, if they do well, then other students will have the opportunity too. You want to let them know to be on time, you know, go over the schedule with them, rules and dress code. And then how to prepare for work-based learning industry. Collaborate with school staff to create learning opportunities for students at the workplace. Assist students, and this is more for the industry, but they want to assist students in writing learning objectives. Train, coach, and guide students while they are involved in work-based learning activities. Evaluate student progress toward learning objectives and on their development of workplace skills, and maintain ongoing communication with teachers. So also for the teachers, you definitely want, or even the coordinator, you want to work with industry just to make sure that what the students are learning at the job site, it lines up with what you're teaching in the classroom. So that way the students can make that connection. And then you want to offer ongoing support. Ensure both educators and employers have access to centralized support systems. Keep in touch with your stakeholders, industry partners through regular communication about updates and new partners. Create mutually beneficial industry partnerships, which will create a sustainable network once the system is in place. And then we provided you with resources. So there is a work-based learning tools drive that I'll show you. And then also Career Finder that will help with like career exploration. It's a really good tool that the students can use, and it actually has worksheets that are embedded within the site. So that way they can create their plan, they can give that plan to their counselor, and then also it will help them actually get clear on what type of work-based learning activities that they might be interested in, so they can start that exploration process as well. And then there's NAF, they have a guest speaker series where you can explore, the students can explore different type of industries as well through those videos. Okay, so for the work-based learning drive, we've created some documents and forms that you'll possibly need during your process. So like we have workplace tour tools, work experience tools, job shadowing, internship, and guest speaker. So I'm going to show you the guest speaker one. So if you see here, there are documents within this, and this has a faculty guest speaker checklist. And so with that, it just kind of helps you and guides you so you know like the purpose of the guest speaker, and then before the guest speaker presentation and during the presentation, what to do. So I think it's really good because it has like structure, for you to be able to really get the most out of that experience for the students. And then there's employer tip fact sheet. I know that like when I used to have guest speakers come in, I would always tell them, oh yeah, just come and talk about what you do. And I was way off, but the kids still had a good experience. But I like this because it shows, like, it provides them with a guide, so it says provide faculty member with website links about your company, industry, and profession to help students prepare for your presentation, build talking points that will engage the students, find out what they're currently focused on in the classroom so you can link the presentation to the curriculum. So I love that. It's better than me saying, okay, well, come on in and just talk about what you do, but it's like, it actually builds off of the curriculum. So they're actually able to come in and talk about what the kids are already learning and how it applies to what they do, what they currently do. So I like that. And then there is a student guest speaker checklist. And I like that because it actually gets the student involved. So if you see here in the corner where it says get ready for the speaker, it says researched guest speaker's company. Have you researched a guest speaker's company? This is really big because if you have the students research the company prior to them coming, it's actually helping them not only prepare for the guest speaker, but this is something they'll have to do when they're in the workforce. You always tell them to research the company before they go for their job interview. So it's kind of like preparing them before they even get started. And so that's for the guest speaker tools. And then if you go into the internship tools, there's a bunch of documents here. So this is pretty much sample documents that will help you get started if you're looking on building your internship for next summer. It's not everything in here, but I feel like it will get you started. So it has like talking points if you are interested in going to meet companies. So there's a draft email if you're sending out emails. It tells you like what you can put in that email. So it gives you the sample there. And then also like once the student is finished with their internship, you actually have a work-based learning student reflection, right? So it's like, it's not just them telling you, okay, this is what I learned, but they're actually able to write out, it says what aspects of the internship were interesting, which were not. So it's like you can get that feedback, they can reflect on that time and see what worked for them and what didn't, and then you can use it for future classes as well. And then there is a readiness self-tool in here, self-assessment. So this is something that you can use to see if the student is actually ready to go out for their internship. So this is a great document here. And then there was one other one that I wanted to share with you. Oh, the onboarding checklist. So not only does this prepare faculty and the students, but it also prepares the employer. So there are documents in here for the employer too, like there are sample projects that you can do. There are samples, and it actually plans out each project as you need for the full 8 weeks. Then this document here, it's showing the employer the onboarding, like what they should do, like the warm-up activity, introduce key people that will be part of their virtual internship. So I believe this is helpful for like, maybe you're not with a larger company, the internship is not with a larger company that they're used to this, right? But maybe it's with a smaller company, a small business, and they want to be involved some way, but they just don't know how. They've never done it before. I feel like these documents, the onboarding, and then the other checklists that we have will actually guide them through that process and help them feel more secure and just excited about helping the students. So I believe that this is definitely documents that you'll be able to use, and it has like the faculty tip sheet. So like we pretty much have you squared away. And then of course, if you have any questions, you can always ask, your K-12 pathway coordinator, and we'll help you. And that is it for my portion. Does anyone have any questions?
Tanaya, I just want to say those resources are amazing. Thank you for that. Those
You're
great
welcome.
resources. And, you know, it's right now, work-based learning is looking very different because of COVID, but hopefully you could get started slowly just with guest speakers. And sometimes those guest speakers end up opening up their doors to let students come and train at their site. And also, like Sabrina said, look for options on campus, such as, let's say you have a sports medicine class, the students can work out on the field with the athletic trainer. If it's a food service class, they could possibly work in the cafeteria. If it's a marketing class, maybe they can market materials for an open house, but you really just have to think outside of the box right now and to find these opportunities for students so that they can get that experience. And sometimes I just feel like it's like planting that seed, getting the employer to visit your class. It will get them excited to see what's going on and they'll want to be a part of that project and career technical education. And they value the fact that you're going above and beyond as a teacher or an administrator to provide these opportunities for students because they are our future workforce. I just want to introduce our team so that way you know who can contact. So if you guys don't mind, you've already met Tanaya, Michael Dean. He is covering the Los Angeles Community College District. And then we have Sabrina, you met. Kim Iron, she's with El Camino Community College District, and myself, Candice Marsano, and then we have Joanne Nazarene. She's covering Santa Monica Community College District, and Ann Welsh from Cerritos Community College District. And we want to thank you for, you know, being a part of this professional development and continuing to do everything you do for our students to provide amazing opportunities for them to get experience in the workforce. And I would also like to leave you with our key tap. Linda Bermudez. She is our Key 14 technical assistant provider. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to her. She will direct you to the appropriate person to assist you with CTE questions, articulation, dual enrollment, anything that we can help to facilitate to help you prepare your pathways and work-based learning. We're here to assist you. Thank you so much. And I hope you have a wonderful afternoon.